Roots, and I'm here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Lumadonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. Many front lines are in play right now. I was just reviewing a few things just before getting on. I'm going to set up some screens here for you to take a look at. Say, first of all, this is an interesting one. Now, again, I don't know these sources in particular, Blazing Press, but I just received this one in the WWG1 WGA Love Telegram group. Barr just dropped the hammer on hypocritical Democrats. Democrats that would take years to heal. Bill Barr just broke a massive scheme to illegally funnel foreign money to Hillary Clinton and darn near every Democrat political candidate and organization. The list of Dem organizations taking this illegal money is astounding. Almost every Dem state organization and many super PACs, including big one, Priorities USA. Hillary Clinton has some explaining to do. For that matter, so does Adam Schiff and every Dem member of the Congress and most of the state organizations tied to the Dem Party. A new treasure trove of new documents related to massive scandals just came online. Scott Stedman has been all over this story and went through the new documents he wrote. A Middle East government appears to have infiltrated the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign, that the direction of HH, as a reference to His Highness, which may be the leader of the UAE MBZ. The indictment doesn't say the money came from HH, but strongly suggests it. It was proposed to. It was a purpose of the conspiracy for Nadler and Khawaja, I don't know how to say that name, but to use their access to candidate 1 to gain favor with the potential financial support from the government of a foreign country A. Okay, and it goes on here. Biden has claimed he is in debt and unemployed. Court finds he's $2.5 million Hollywood home. Okay. Well, you see, this is the kind of story that's going on here. So here's, I guess, Allied Wallet going to Adam Schiff 2700. So anyway, just an interesting story. One other one that's very interesting as well. And again, I do not know if this is true. I tried to find out just before coming on. Paul Manafort dies yesterday. Or today, as the case may be. Now, Paul Manafort is the one that they threw the book against. Supposedly, the beginning of this Spygate and everything all leads back to Paul Manafort. He is the wheeler dealer, and they locked him up and threw away the key quickly. All right, he's been in jail. So let's see. Last Tuesday, December 24th, Paul Manafort had agreed to testify to a second round of House impeachment inquiry. It appears that the House is still looking for evidence to impeach Trump, and that is why Speaker is reluctant to give his papers to the Senate. They still feel the need to continue the so-called inquiry. 3 days later, Manafort was killed in Laredo, PA prison, where he had been serving a 7.5-year sentence for unrelated crimes. By the way, years ago I visited our inmate at Loreto, and so I've been there. So anyway, it's just interesting. I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but because I actually tried to look into more of information about it, but I don't know if it's true. I found a couple other links, and when I got there, the page was removed. That actually convinced me more that there might be something to it, but it may also be fake news. But it was just interesting that it came up. So all right, so let me switch back over here. So since yesterday we had our Kim Speaks episode where we took the 22 minutes from the Thomas Williams show where Kim came on the very end and spoke about things in a very good mood, and it seems as though we've crossed a threshold. So we're all very excited to find out what that actually means. Tank may be on. I have not spoken to Tank today, so we may hear about that shortly. But it does. I did end up speaking with some other people around my the people that I try to confer with about things and talk about different issues. So and there does seem to be a lot of things going on in the banking world. A lot of things seem to be changing. The major rules in London on how investment is to be conducted have loosened up dramatically, and it really has now a theme for there to be benefit to or human empowerment type of preference for investment. So that's kind of an interesting little twist to things. We'll see how that comes about, but that's already done. It's a done deal. So there's all these changes afoot, right? We see the Brexit underway, and when England is out, and there's and over this next year, 2020, we're going to see a lot more things being shaken up. We literally see the world transforming before our eyes. Yes, it's in slow motion. Yes, a lot of these things are so important that they get handled very quickly. But I guess it's the nature of what time and space are, is that these things take time and space to unfold. So we're having major transition of power. We see the ones that are going to be they're under indictment. And so actually I heard on Edge of Wonder, I put that on, with David Wilcock. I know he was finishing up a book, and he came out and was talking about certain things that he knows. So I find getting some information from him very interesting. He said that of these 144,000 sealed indictments, that 3/4, 75%, are all about the media. And that doesn't mean that there's, let's say, 100,000 individuals that will be indicted. And when people are indicted, I'll give you an example. When someone is indicted, say, for example, Epstein, he was arrested. So when people were indicted, they get arrested. So if there's 100,000 of these out there that are for the media, each individual of these indictments is it doesn't have to be for one individual. Now, it's been my understanding that it could be up to 99 individuals. David Wilcock said up to 39. I do not know where that number comes from. I know where my number came from, but so it doesn't matter. Let's say it was 10, right? 10. that would be 10 times 100,000. That would be 1 million people. That was basically the ability, for them to go after. If it was only 2, that's still 200,000. These are enormous numbers when you consider the people in the media that are basically, part of this system. Basically giving us the same detail, the same information across every channel. A cookie cutter. This is not news. This is propaganda. They're taking the information that they're given and they're presenting it. Now, do they know that they're part of a large conspiracy to basically manipulate the population? Don't know, but they are. They should realize their responsibility as as the press to dig for the information. They seem to have given up on that. They seem to be very lazy. They seem to be just very elitist, meaning that they're right just because the position that they're in, they get to basically determine what people think. Right? It is their attitude. They state it openly. And this is not the news. Yes, we are the news. Like I just read through some things. Is it true that Manafort is dead? I'm not certain. I'm stating that I'm not sure. But it is good to at least bring that up and look at it. Right? So it's not put under the rug. It's a major piece of information. A very critical piece to unfolding these things. It's another one is Kevin Spacey, a third accuser of him against sexual misconduct. Let's put it at that level, sexual misconduct, is now dead. So he's had one die, two died, now the third died. So anyone accuses Kevin Spacey of sexual misconduct ends up dead. Seems to be a pattern. Seems to be as though he thinks he's in a house of cards, and the president he is that character in there because people just ended up disappearing and dying around him. Seems like there's something very strange going on there. But this is more information. Is this going to be swept under the rug? Is it only a blip that they put out there, the information, and they want to cover it up so they talk about everything else? Impeachment, 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 impeachment. Impeachment's not going anywhere. They shouldn't even be talking about it. Shouldn't talk about what Nancy Pelosi... Who cares when she brings it forward? What is her devious plan and how great she is at everything, and the press wants to talk about this? Why? And they're all doing it. Look over here. Don't look over there. Hey, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. Look, look, look. Don't look at China. Don't look at China. So it's very interesting to find out, that's, great to hear sources. Now, is David Wilcock correct? I have no idea. But it is worth listening to all the different points of view and then trying to get to the answers. Be open to what's coming about. I do think that there is a very big change. There is more, other types of media sources now coming up and trying to organize to fill the role that the mainstream does not fill. So this type of providing information to the public needs to have the variety and needs to have the researching done. We need to be able to find out all the information. Like these are just stuff that I've received from the Telegram group we put together from our members that are finding it and posting it there, which is wonderful because we can't rely what's coming in, say, through YouTube. So I still cannot find that one video. I know that I had saved it onto a list. I'm sorry, the video I'm referring to was about frequencies and related to the solids, the geometric shapes, and how that all comes together. And that was a fantastic video. I know I put it onto one of my playlists. It's not there. It's not in my history. Now, other than me being an alternative timeline, it was removed. So, actually, if anyone knows what video I'm referring to, that sends me videos, That would be good to find that one again. Because I can't find it. As there was some, I want to share it with Tank, and I want to share it with a couple other people. Whereas this is really going into the science, into the physics, into the keys to what was provided to us for ascension. I think that's why it was removed. It makes too much sense. It just is so clear once you see this. It's like, yeah, okay. All right. But they gave a list of frequencies. I like to investigate those frequencies more. Try and dust off some of my math skills, you know. I'd have to, shake out the cobwebs, see if I could look at some things. I used to do a lot of things with matrices, and it reminded me of a matrices that I was dealing with. I was playing around with math way back when in my college years, and it just struck me, and that's why I was looking. I wanted to do something with it. So, but it's very frustrating to know that I can't rely on what's there in YouTube. I can't say that it's going to be there. That it might not be. That it might be removed. And even when I'm watching, that it wasn't edited by an AI that takes out a phrase out of the video and puts it right back together. I've only noticed this since the 10th of December. I don't know if there was a technology changeover, but I haven't noticed. It might have been happening before, but I've just been noticing, and maybe I was just hyper keen to analyze, but these same videos that are coming to my feed, right, which is all Fox, 99%, right, and a lot of the stuff is from a long time ago, right, and I said, I wonder if they edited the stuff from a long time ago. Are they going to change history? Because they have control over it. Control over what is being said. They can change history. Because if they change the words, it's like taking old documents and rewriting them. If they did that to the Constitution, like replace the word of and for. Big difference, huh? It may be keyed into that. But this should be not just illegal, but treasonous. It really should. It should carry the highest, the highest penalty, because it is an affront to our constitutional rights, to our freedom of thought, freedom of mind, freedom of action. They're trying to manipulate our actions based on controlling what's there, what we're seeing, and what's even in the videos. To literally remove words, or maybe replace words. They talk about deep fakes that they were warning everyone about. Maybe it's something that whatever they're saying something, it's what they're doing. So if they're warning people against deep fakes, they must be doing deep fakes themselves. Very, very unusual situation we find ourselves in. Maybe it is usual, and we're just finding out about it. I knew about the history books being changed over decades. Q had warned about this as well. Yeah, go back to a history book from 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, from 10 years ago, and you'll see that the words have been changed. They're changing history. They're rewriting it, and our kids are being affected by what's coming in. And we welcome Tank. Hello, Tank. As you get your audio up, ready to go.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh yeah, you were just going to end it because you weren't here. That's
really?
Yeah, Sid said if you're not there on the dot, just go ahead and end.
Oh wow.
They said that'll teach Tank for being late. I said, okay, if you really want. No, I'm just joking. She didn't say that.
Shoot, I guess I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yeah. So how's it going?
Well, pretty good. I
How's your bank account?
still pretty lean, pretty lean. Um,
Okay.
but
I just cut to
but
the chase there, but it's all right. Yes, you never know.
um, no, but I will say that I asked Kim about something she told me yesterday that she basically had said a similar thing on the show about the 2 days, and so I asked her specifically about something that would happen, and she said that it's been a crazy hacking for the past 3 days that she finally shut down between 2 and 3 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time. And as of 8 o'clock p.m. tonight, she was waiting for word from the, quote, back office. And she had not gotten any word yet from the back office. I'm not sure the back office is what, but I do know
that was my question.
Yeah. But whatever the back office is, that group, they were one of the groups that were hacking the trust. They were trying to, anyways, to no avail. So basically, so I take that as good news in the sense that Kim had it. There's something in this that that I'm missing that's contingent upon some kind of cooperation, I guess. Or there's some kind of deals that get put in place, and they're given another chance to not do things like this, and then they do it again. And I think Kim basically gives them a chance to fail, or to succeed. She gives them a chance, and in this case, I think that their failure.
Okay, guys, you ready to attack? Okay, go ahead. I'm waiting.
But I think what she does is finally. Everybody says, okay, we all agree, this is what it is. Kim's got control of the system. You're not getting any money until you do this. And then that's where it leaves. And then, she probably gives them to, Friday. And then, instead, and they pretend like they're going along with the deal. Then Friday comes, and they, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they're hacking and, they're bringing, super galactic hyper hackers that are all trying to do whatever they're trying to do, right, to no avail, right? Because they never even made it past the first firewall. So they do all this. They fail miserably, right? And I think this time, this is my suspicion, Kim didn't say this, but I think Kim put them on display to show this is what they do every time. Because everybody knows they don't have access, right? Because Nancy Pelosi, for example, she pushes through the impeachment, right? And she was told by the Rothschild that she was going to get the money in her account so that she could bribe senators and win the impeachment, right? Mm-hmm. And the war shifts in their we all prepare ourselves to the long journey to go to hell because we're all going to die, right? So if that happens, but instead what happens is the money never shows up in Nancy's account. Right, she never gets the money, so she doesn't know what to do. So she stalls, right? She doesn't, she doesn't ever. Now, people don't realize this, but this is all directly correlated to what they're trying to do with the trust, right? They keep trying to steal money. Kim keeps stopping it, right? They thought they were going to take this, cryptocurrency and mainstream it into the system. As soon as they tried to, the Kim system shut it down. So they're also trying to boast and brag and say, the FBI puts a new system in. They're like, oh, the new, quantum financial system's in place, right? And come to find out, it's Kim's system. Literally, key integrated monetary system, right? And then when you want to go find out, well, who's hacking the system, right? Instead of letting these guys lie about it, say, oh, it's, this other group or that other group. No. Now there's the key intelligence and military system. So you can look at it and say, no, we all have the same intelligence. We're all looking at the same stuff. We all know it's you. Stop acting like it's not you. We know it's you. Right? So that's basically where we're at right now. It's transparent to that extent where nobody can hide. Nobody can hide. So if that's the case, and nobody can really hide, and there's a standard in place right now, well, the only option is freedom and all of these knuckleheads need to be cast out because they keep committing crimes over and over again that every alleged intelligence agency can see, right?
I mean, the lack of intelligence agencies.
Yeah, but the unless they're going to declare themselves the shadow government officially, it's like, well, you are technically breaking laws, although we know that's a foreign concept to you because you didn't realize there were laws, right? Because you just do whatever the hell you want. So all of this is very new to them, is my conclusion.
Yes, I can see that. Well, I got the interesting news to add to this. I heard that in England, they've actually already changed these laws on investment to dramatically changes things on how they're allowed to move money around. That is it's like if it's for human empowerment, right? Then it's going to go through. So I don't know exactly what that means. What they've actually changed, but that's what I was told.
So if it's for human empowerment, it will go through.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. That would be in line with a lot of what Kim set up, but at the same time, it's also the way that everybody launders money, right? Humanitarian projects, aka money laundering, has been the justification forever. Like, because, do you have projects, right? You have projects. As long as you have projects, we'll put it through, we'll transfer money, we'll do this, right? It's like, well, okay. If you actually cared about humanity, you'd realize that the obscene numbers that they would put up for these mega transfers, like, we're transferring $10 trillion. Like, no, you're not. You're not transferring anything. You're just laundering money. But everybody has to get their cut. So hopefully that's not the case, though. I mean, because you'd have to believe nobody can do anything right now. Like, you are going to do what Kim says, or you're not going to be part of, the global financial system. Period. You're going to be poor.
I read this in the beginning of the show. It's on the Blazing Press. It says breaking shocking development as Adam Schiff is named in Hillary Clinton's linked money laundering indictment against 8. And I don't know what the 8 is, but he's really talking about how all the Democrats, all of them, Adam Schiff and all of them, are all connected to this money that's coming in through His Highness. We're referring to Middle Eastern government under the UAE. So, and meaning the king, I would say. So it's just
You're the United Arab Emirates?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's you'd think that would be mainstream news, right?
Yeah,
that sounds like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's from the 27th, so it's pretty hot off the press here. There was also another one that I looked at. Both of these, and I kind of brought them up for the purpose of talking about. This is news that I don't know is true, right? I'm getting off a site called Blazing Press. I don't know that site. And there's another one I brought up that is called the untimely death of an impeachment witness, Paul Manafort. As of actually, he's now killed in prison as of now, right? As of the 27th. So he is the linchpin for the this Steele dossier. He was involved. He was with Carter Page, and he was like the reason that he had connections to Russia, right? And he's a wheeler dealer, and he had a conversation with Carter Page. Something as flimsy as that got them to focus on Carter Page to listen to him, or to spy on him.
Okay.
So now he's dead. Now this guy, they threw in jail very quickly at the beginning of the Mueller investigation. Right? They locked him up and they threw away and put him in solitary confinement.
Which, by the way, is torture,
Yes.
and they would never do that. They would never do that.
Yeah, it's something that is very unusual, right? Putting people in solitary confinement. That means they bring you out of the cell like once a day to walk in the yard by yourself, right? And then they put you right back in. So there's no human interaction, right? And it's really a form of torture. So he's been in there now for how many years? It's a 7.5-year sentence, and he's been, and it's unrelated crimes, right? What they put him in jail for. But this is
Wait. Who are you talking about? Paul Manafort?
Paul Manafort. Yes.
No, he hasn't been there for years.
No, he has. He's been there for like 2 years or something like that in jail.
No way. Really?
Yeah, maybe 3.
Wow.
2 to 3. I mean, it's just as soon as this whole thing started, they put him in jail.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize he'd been. I feel like that just happened a little while ago. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to see.
He's basically willing to do anything right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wasn't dead, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows if he really is? But I guess why I brought up these stories. Both of them are, hot off the press. Are they real? And I was saying that I don't know if they are real, but it's worth at least bringing this information out to make sure it doesn't get sidelined and start talking about it. So if it is real, then both of these stories have a lot of carrying power. So I don't know, but this money laundering from the Clinton administration, they were really talking about all of this Clinton Foundation stuff that was used to launder money, and who was on the take is every Democrat. That's what this article was saying, that they're all tainted, and this is why they all act in unison. They all go along with the one talking points, whatever it is, whatever the news is saying. I think whatever the news says, or whatever the mainstream, press groupies out there get from their talking points, I think they say it, and then their politicians do it. That's just my theory. That they're not, that the puppet masters are control them through the strings of the press instead of the other way. Instead of the press reacting to what's being said, the press is really just laying out what was said, as though there wasn't anything else there. One of the other things I got yesterday was this was in a Twitter tweet that was showing the footage of the 9/11 towers coming down without the airplane hits. The video without the planes hitting, just the explosions.
Really?
Yeah.
How? I mean, it's like shot that way.
It's though as the airplanes never were there. That they were added in afterwards. Now I don't know if that's true, but they could. Someone could.
No, I mean, Oh yeah, sorry. Thanks for that. No, I actually know, a dozen people who were there, who watched the planes. Yeah,
okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so.
good.
And I watched live on television myself. So.
Well, that's why I didn't show that, but this is something that. When this happened, I literally woke up out of my sleep, right, and turned on the news, and I, was like out of a dead sleep. It was like 4 a.m. or something like that for me when this was happening. Maybe it was 5 a.m. and I just sort of turned on the news, and then it all kind of like unfolded, right? So,
right.
I just accepted that there were planes. Right, because that's what came across the TV.
Yeah, and I think they were like I don't know. Like I've heard different things about this. about that there was a remote control missile, that there was just it appeared as a flight log and things like that.
Yeah, I've heard
All I
that
know
too.
is that's where it gets. I mean,
What?
that's a sensitive issue,
Right.
here in New York still.
Sure.
I mean, even for me, I did have friends who worked in the tower who got killed, and I had friends who overslept that day and who didn't go to the tower. You know, but it's a weird thing. It's like it's you can see how these these false flags, they do real damage, right? But they're just never what they appear to be. On Thanksgiving Day, I almost got in a fight with a 40-year fireman, retired fireman, about it. So I'm like, it wasn't terrorists, man. I mean, it wasn't, like some foreign Islamic terrorists, the way they say.
No, they basically they had rigged the buildings to implode. So
Right.
That
It was a planned demolition, right?
planned demolition. So whatever else triggered, whatever the smoke and mirrors part of it was, whether it was a plane hitting it or not, they had it rigged it to blow. So that I think can be very well documented. They even have the guys that did it. They even have video of these guys doing an art project where they were opening up one of the side windows, right, so that you could literally step out and look out of this window. This was their whole thing, right? And in the video, that they're kind of showing where they're working and making this little thing that goes out of the side of the building, right? Is that they show so they put up these cardboard walls to cut off the wind from blowing all over throughout the floor or whatever. But the walls that they put up were made of cardboard boxes that were all about wire harnesses that you need for routing wires. And if you looked at how many boxes they had, yeah, you can say, wow, they had a lot of wire routing stuff going on there on that. They'd have to, so they obviously didn't bring in other boxes, right? They used the boxes that were on hand because they know who's thinking about what's written on the box.
Well, I mean, right now, you have a Barbara Honaker and this whole law group out of New York. They have gathered together 57 irrefutable forensic pieces of evidence that have all been accepted as evidence to be used in a lawsuit against the FBI and New York and a whole bunch of organizations, right? Because all your major intelligence agencies are right there at ground zero, or they used to be, right? In that building 7, right? And she was explaining to us how for 3 months, or more than that, might have been 6 months, you had crews going in, between 11 o'clock at night and 6 a.m. in the morning, every night of the week, for 3+ months, doing work on the stairs, right? And they were setting up these bombs, right? There's shop owners and all types of evidence that shows these are that the first explosion that went off, right, was actually underneath the building, right? So the very first thing they do in a demo is you let off the low level explosion at the base so that it creates a draw, I guess, of some sort to kind of that allows the building to fall more directly down, right? Instead of falling to the right and the left to collapse other buildings. So I mean, it was very, very clearly a planned demolition. I mean, but they have 57 pieces of evidence to show it too, to show the different kind of explosions, all the different ways that this would have happened. They've shown that the steel melts at 20,000 degrees, right? The hottest jet fuels ever burned is 6,000 or something like that. I mean, those are not accurate numbers, but things like that.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So where does Rudy Giuliani come on down on this side of things?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It'd be hard. It's so hard to say. I mean, the order, they do everything on different levels, right?
Right. Well, I mean,
Like,
even I mean, he's going to be watching TV the same as others, right? But he probably heard, like just like Trump did, right? He said this was a demolition job. You know, he came out and said this is,
and he would know. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's like he's got the experience to know what demolition looks like, right? He knows what it takes to do it. So,
well, I think Rudy took down the mobsters, right? In New York, he went after the mob, right? I mean, he's got a track record of going after the order.
right.
I mean, it's the way I see it. Trump hired him. Look, you got to think Trump could have hired anybody, right? Why did he hire Rudy Giuliani? Well, because he's got a reputation for going after these guys,
yeah.
and so is Trump.
Yeah,
So
I'd hire Rudy for that.
Yeah.
Sure. That'd be the one.
I mean, he's a beast right now. I mean, he's bringing out so much evidence. It's like I don't even. I was so confused every time I go to talk to a lawyer, about like a different case. They're always like, "Well, what's the cause of action?" I'm like, "They violated everybody's constitutional rights. What the heck do you mean? What's the cause of action?"
Well, we don't prosecute, or we don't go after people on constitutional rights anymore. That's so passé.
God, just hearing it makes me mad. Even though I know you're joking, it makes me mad.
I know. Yeah. That's. I mean, it should make everybody mad. That's the point, right? Because
but Kamala Harris and Cory Booker made sure to get lynching and finally recognized as a hate crime. Good job. Well, what else are you going to say? It's mean to say insult people. I mean, like, what else are you doing with wasting time? Come on, of course, lynching's obviously a hate crime. Like, you don't need to categorize it as a special hate crime.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the definition of a hate crime.
Yeah, it's like when they came up with the term hate crime, they were thinking of lynching.
Yes, they want to. In fact, that's what they used to do, right? As part of their hate crime was the focus of a lot of lynchings, right? It was because of hate, right? But
right.
But it was for the pirates, for example. They got to walk the plank, or they swung from the yardarm, right? Meaning they were hung, right? And sometimes they were drawn and quartered, which meant they were split into pieces. This is pretty much hate crime, right?
Yeah.
or I guess it's hate punishment. I guess is a better way of putting it.
Yeah, that's hate punishment. That's different, right?
Yeah,
vigilante justice is kind of well, in the worst possible way. I mean, I think like Batman's cool. I mean, it's vigilante justice, but if you're going after bad guys.
Yeah, you gotta dress up as a bat and be a billionaire. Then it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Punisher wasn't a billionaire. He vigilante justice. Anyways. but anyways, what I think is really, really important to realize right now is a lot of times you'll hear intel out there and people trying to connect it with something else. It's like, this is what's happening. Nancy Pelosi is trying to bribe the Senate. She doesn't have the money. The money didn't come in. That is the real reason why she's holding up the entire vote. That is cutting edge news right there, right? We outed them right away, right? Like away.
You need 2 to 10 million per head and you don't got the cash.
Right, you don't got it, right? Because you need some real dough to do that, right?
Now, Nancy, you could dip into your own pocket, right?
I don't think she can. I don't think she can. I don't think she can access her own money.
Ah, okay.
It's like when they say they're worth this money, right? It was still money that was held by the Rothschilds, which they had mirror accounts up for everybody. So
sure.
They would control your money still. So they were, even though we say they're rich, it's like what? I know for a fact that the former head of CNN, right? He had all his money frozen forever. That's why CNN is what it is now. Because they told him, we're not going to release your money. But in reality, they took it all, right? And they left it that way until he retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a fact. So, I mean, this is the kind of thing that goes on, right? They had control of everything in that, the back of things. So it's the same methodology that was used on all the people for the GCR, right? They'd go exchange some currency or some bonds or whatever. They'd have a SKR for $100 million. They could see it. They had the account number. They had the SKR. They could never access it because the whole RV didn't have it yet. That was the excuse.
Right.
But that's illegal. That's illegal. You're not actually allowed to hold an SKR that long. So then when the mirrors dropped in 2017, right, December 23rd, 2017, every single bank in the world, dropped their jaw because all the money just disappeared.
Well, that's that actually you were the first one to clue me in onto that, and that made a lot of sense. But the GCR itself, that is what never really made the sense. So why they're, but I think we can see that they've been out of money, right, since 2008, and they've been shifting stuff around, but they can only do that apparently for about 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah, so really cool.
Right. And then after that, there's no more bandwidth in the system to allow them to move enough to keep things floating, except for whatever Trump is doing right now with this. I don't know what the dog is barking about. I don't know. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
He gets excited.
Yeah, we must be doing a good job. It's like the rooster for the DJ.
Yeah. It's like he's expressing his sovereignty over this area. No one make a noise that I don't know about.
Right.
Yeah. I'll hear something like some rustle or something down the road or something. He'll start barking. You can't see anything. You don't know what's there. Give you a bird landing. But he's a good dog. He's a German Shepherd police dog.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He's very smart. Very excited. He also amazed me at how high he can jump in one place. With excitement, he just like bounces straight up off the ground. It's like,
yeah, German Shepherds they always act like puppies when they're out there. Yeah. They're not really well trained. Yeah.
And he's ready to go outside. He's at the door and he's bouncing. He's a big dog too. This is not some little dog. He's super big. Anyway, so what else is going on?
In New York, right? So there's like some kind of Ebola outbreak on December 3rd, right? Not outbreak, excuse me. There was an Ebola identified in New York on December 3rd, right? And there's a bill called A99 in New York that I guess goes back. It hasn't made it past committee yet. But basically, where they're saying that in the state of an emergency, a medical emergency, where there is a fatal contagion out there, which would be Ebola, right? That the governor can actually set up detainment camps and detain people by name or just by general group that they have to report to the detainment center, which is basically a concentration camp, and they would have to stay there indefinitely, right? And then coincidentally, the CDC passed, they approved the Ebola vaccine, which has not been tested at all, and they approved the Ebola vaccine like the week after this alleged Ebola outbreak happened. So you can kind of see the writing on the wall what they're planning to do here in New York, right? They're gonna,
I'm going to point out something just struck me. That World War Z film. You remember that? It was the zombie film, right? But it was basically a this. I believe they said it was had to do with Ebola, right? There was an Ebola outbreak in like India, right? But the people had end up acting, like zombies, right? And no one could believe the stories, right? But the Israelis, they had this dead man switch kind of thing, right? Where it's not really right, it's not the right terminology, but the 13th guy or the 10th guy, whatever that if everyone says they are all in agreement,
the ninth man theory, yeah.
Yeah, the ninth man. So if we all agree, that means we better take precautions and act as though it's correct. The story is correct, and we all agree it's not correct, that means we have to actually have someone ready to go as though it is. And that's why they were able to survive, for a while. They built their wall, but I'm just thinking that this Ebola, vaccine seems like it would be, that they really want to plan this zombie apocalypse. They tell us what they want to do, right? They always are telling us this is what was going to happen, right? So they're making, their manifestation of this evil, you know, timeline. So it would seem to me that this might play into that. You were kind of having this theory about the stuff that was going on with these helicopters that went down Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, stopped at the Guatemalan, cultural center, went in with hazmat suits and pulled out this box, and then took off with it was five helicopters in the middle of the night, right?
Right.
And the research that came out was they were suggesting that it was some kind of zombie apocalypse weapon that was due to be released when the building was demolished the following month.
Well, I can tell you this, that Michelle Walker read this on our show live. It was a military manual, and you gotta pull it. She thinks it's from Alabama, and it actually talked about releasing the Ebola virus as a method of, for population control, to create an urgency to basically quarantine people, right?
Right, and then
use it as a biological weapon. So
vaccinate.
How would you release a biological weapon except for vaccines, right?
Right. That's because anytime they try to do this, I heard that Ebola doesn't do well in transmission when they've tried to do it by introduction, just one person to the next, by contact. It for some reason that doesn't work out too well. They can't spray it. They can't do an aerosol. They can't. So maybe they're just going to say, well, we're just going to inject it. This is the vaccine. And literally, 21 days later, after they've enforced this, everyone ends up with Ebola.
Right. So this is the methodology of the destroyer, right? To create a problem, then offer the solution. Now, clearly, Cuomo here in New York and Pelosi, I think they haven't got the memo yet, right? But here's what I think is actually going to happen: is their money is not going to move. They're not going to have access to money anymore, and the money that they've basically earned, I use the term loosely, right, that they've embezzled from one thing or another through criminal activities, it's all going to be frozen.
Gathered. How about
that?
They've
gathered, right. They've gathered together, right? Right. So in that process, they're basically going to be outed for, criminal activity. And I think that it's going to be stopped that way. And I think that'll happen, and that'll reflect in funding for the government and everything else. Because the money's just not going to be there to flow. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to, the Kim system identifies fraudulent activity. If you're using it for something, it'll track every place the money's been and every place it's been going out of that account, and it will stop it, right? And this has already been witnessed when they tried to, implement this latest, crypto thing. And what's happening right now, they're trying to bribe senators so it can stop. Right? Because the KIM system is not just connected to the financial system, it's connected to
military,
everything.
Internet.
Yep.
Yeah. And
so all their, they think they're slick getting away with something. It's all going to be out. And to be honest, it's so important. It's so necessary right now. It's like, it's pretty easy when you think about it. It's like, hey, let's just not plan to commit crimes and kill people. Like, there's plenty of money for everybody. There's no reason to commit crimes. There's money here for everybody. The only people this is a problem for is people who really just want to be in control and they want to do horrible things, right?
Right.
So
yeah, they want to continue with the plan that they were doing, right?
Right.
What they were good at was following orders. So they just keep following the last orders received.
Right. That's all they know to do. And right now, that's all collapsing. And I feel very, very confident that's what we're seeing happen everywhere, and that all the excitement is going around, in the Q community and things like that. It's like,
Well, I wish we could just get like a remote control, right? And then push fast forward because it's on slow mo right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's. I can understand why why all these things have to line up. Why I get the logic, but the emotion behind getting things over with, right? Stopping them. I think we're right there. Oh, I brought this up earlier. David Wilcock was on Edge of Wonder, and I picked up a piece of information I thought was interesting. He said that he was told that the 144,000 sealed indictments, that 3/4 of them were for the media.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel great, actually.
Well, that kind of means that there's going to be a big hole in the world out there for news, right? I mean, we're already filling the news anyway, but I would say this is something to look towards. 24/7 broadcasting of what's going on and getting the information, deciphering it, and bringing it forward. And that's kind of like why I was talking about these other news stories that I pulled out of the WWG1 WGA Love Telegram group, right? And I said, I do not know if these are true. They are just now breaking. Are they new? Shouldn't, though, we be able to bring these out as, hey, we just heard this, let's follow up on it, right? And keep it as a thread or a bread or however we want to basically the terminology develops, but to keep going with it, see which ones are resonating, which ones are ringing true, right? Which have the right vibration, say there's real truth here.
Right.
So it's interesting that we're going to have this big hole, coming out. Now I don't know. Do they arrest 100,000 journalists all at one time? Or do they are there, because when you have an indictment, right? You get arrested when there's an indictment. If it's a criminal, you get arrested. You go to jail. Then you go through the process of arraignment and all the rest of that. So. If they all go to jail,
who's going to report on it?
Well, we know who's going to report on it. We're going to be here, and the rest of the alternative media is going to be out there, but they're going to be filling in the space. I mean, I don't think Jim Acosta is going to be there. I think his name is probably on several of them, of these indictments. Many of the people we're normally seen. Chris Wallace. I used to like to watch Chris Wallace, right, stuff, and now he's on Fox. He's got this. But every time that I hear his reporting now, I know that he is feeding me garbage. I know that he's trying to present something. And so like the people that I used to give some credence to in the past, now I'm listening to them, and I said, I don't believe him. All right, I
don't believe him.
Yeah, I just don't believe him. I think he's part of this. And now Tucker Carlson, I believe him. Right, I believe Sean Hannity that they're saying to the best ability to bring things forward. Now maybe they might be hiding some information because they can't bring it up because they know if they brought it out, they would be off the air, right? I think that they have to play a game somewhat there. Maybe it's maybe it's they do it without saying anything, and others may know. But I think that this is all unfolding at a point to make it go. Even Alex Jones, the stuff that he's bringing forth. I think that he's he's a compromise source, right? But he's directing, he's bringing out real stories. But I think this is stuff to direct to prep the manifestation. I think that talking about the gay frogs. I don't know if you know about that part, but it's about all this estrogen pumped into the water ends up changing the uh, the hormones of the frogs, and they end up becoming gay. And then no babies, right? Because,
Yeah. Well, it's some of the stuff say, this you got something called the Impossible Whopper, right? It's supposed to be this vegetarian Whopper that tastes like real, and we all thought like, maybe it's human meat, right? Is what we thought, but some of the doctors did a study on it. It turns out there's 18 million times as much estrogen in the Impossible Whopper as there is in a regular Whopper.
18 million times.
18 million times. Yeah.
I mean, you take one bite and you turn into a female with a bite, one bite.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
You start talking like Chuck Schumer.
Oh, that's an ugly woman.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer is a very ugly woman. Yeah, so they're definitely doing it. I had to take some stock over that, because I'm like, I definitely, like, I think my son's to grab like breakfast almost every day, and all I can think is like, oh my God, what if I'm just taking them and poisoning them every day, right? With like soybean, like it used to be like ways to get mayonnaise, right? Like you could buy like something like mayonnaise, and you'd have like olive oil mayonnaise or grapeseed mayonnaise.
I like the grapeseed one. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Oh, it's my favorite. But they don't even sell it here anymore. You can't even get it anymore. I mean, like I have two massive, like beautiful, like health food stores. You cannot get it. They only have canola oil, which we know is made with rapeseed.
Yeah.
RAPE, rapeseed. And the other one is soybean oil. That's all you have. Those are the only options. So,
what happened to the other ones?
They don't have them. I even got one the other day that was avocado oil, right? And even that had soybean oil.
So did you ask the general manager of the store and say, hey, where's the grapeseed oil mayonnaise?
Yeah, and they just don't carry it anymore. I mean, you can see that there's this is what they do all the time. If you have a product that really helps people, right, or that is actually beneficial or opposed to their agenda, they just remove some aspect of the production line. They do this all the time, right? So that's what they do. So now the only way to make mayonnaise now is this. I mean, unless you make it yourself, right? So, not that I'm concerned about mayonnaise, being on the grid, but I thought about it. I'm like, wow, like you can appreciate how we kind of the shape of humanity has changed, right? Like you look at back in the 50s and you see pictures of the 50s, you can't find an obese person in the 50s.
Sure.
Everybody's eating, right? And now, because of processed foods, right, we all eat packaged foods all the time.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
there is something wrong with this picture.
Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah. How can you control the food source and you control the people, right? So how long do they live, what they do, what they crave, where they're going to spend their money.
That's the big thing. I'm so excited to like put things in play and like set up, just buy property where, we're going to make sure every single, kind of branch of the Create Change, wherever Create Change is working, will have enough property where they can have their own, like an acre of like, a biodome or something like that, or some kind of methodology to create real organic food. We know exactly what's in it, right? And people are able to get fresh fruits and vegetables that are healthy, and water that is generated from an atmospheric water generator and filtered right then, and and everything runs off that, right? And we run off free power, so we don't have all these added pieces. Just imagine the difference in our life just by having real fresh water. I mean, this is like the Hopi Indians talk about this. Right? Like the Hopi Indians have this prophecy that talks about this time we're in, and what they say is that there's a window when the end of time, or when the end of time comes, and the new age begins. Now, that's what that letter was about that we got on Christmas Day, right? Or on Saturday, same thing. This is the end of one age and the beginning of the next. So the age of terror and fear, right, where they've been able to manipulate and create poison and put it in everything, the air, the food, the water, everything we have. Everything's been poisoned. So you have this diminished version of the human experience where our intelligence is diminished, our ability to, reproduce, our ability to thrive, to live a proper lifespan and a healthy life, right? It's all been diminished, right? And we've adapted in many ways, but even so, a human life should be 1,000 years, not 100.
Right. Not 120. And their time shall be 120, is it something like that? I think the Anunnaki programming.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, from Inky. They shortened the lifespan to 120 years, and you can't really find too many that live beyond that. Right,
no,
no. You'll get a handful that get into hundreds and 110s, and then the occasional one that you'll see is like 120, 122. Usually because they're eating fish and cabbage.
Like, I'm sure somebody in the Nordic, like the fishermen there, they're like, they live on like fresh fish all the time. And they're like all healthy and strong.
Yeah, I was kind of referring to the ones that were in these Japanese villages, and they live forever, but their diet is like just fish and cabbage.
Yeah, the Tibetan monks, man, like they're some of those guys, they're getting a tractor age. So.
Yeah. So.
Well, we can do that. We can do that. We can be stronger and healthier. All that's possible. I mean, without even all this extremes, it's just removing the poison in our water every day. I mean, 7 years, you'd be a brand new person. Literally, a brand new person. Every atom in your body be different. Every cell in your body be different. Be healthier, stronger.
Well, I guess I want to figure out who I want to be the next 7 years.
Yeah, I know. I work on that every day.
Yeah, when do you begin that, right? You look now, you try to figure it out now, you try to figure it out, along the way. Is it a culmination of everything you've been doing for the last 7 years? You're always 7 years behind the scale.
It takes 8 weeks to make any physiological change in your body permanent. So if you stick to any program, most diets, most people who try to diet, they quit at 6 weeks. But if they just stick to their program for 8 weeks, the body will make physiological changes, and it will be permanent. Your body will stabilize, as a rule.
Yes, I go along with that. I think I usually stay on them for about 3 months.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, but you're not the average person. The average person stays on a diet for about 6 weeks. Because they're dieting and they're miserable, right? It's never, they don't change their lifestyle necessarily. They make it, drastic changes, and they're trying to stick with it, and they get immediate losses, but not the losses they need.
Yeah, they're miserable. That's it. That's the one thing I couldn't figure out on dieting. I said, why do you want to be starving and the rest of that? So there must be ways that we could do this where you're eating just the right things and you're not starving.
Yeah.
There's
It's all about corporate wellness, man. You know, if you introduce actual programs into the job, everything will be different. But they don't want people to be healthy at work, right? They want people to be accepting and docile and feel bad about themselves. That's what happens.
yeah, yeah. I think that's part of it, to feel bad about yourself. I really think that you hit something on the head, nail on the head. That one, because it does seem like that it's always about making you feel guilty, jealous, all these other all these things that are negative in general.
Yep. So I don't want to feel that way at all. So I think we can all get to move forward, and I'm really hopeful that somebody got back to Kim tonight. I did follow up with a question, and she hasn't even looked at it, so it means she probably got busy doing something else. Let's hope that involves liberating funds. So.
Yeah, let's hope that. Well, I'm going to take a quick look here, see if there's anyone put any questions in the chat room. Sorry, that was a weird statement. Someone said Taylor is the AI system on the planet. I don't know what that means. It just caught my eye.
I know where that comes from. That Taylor is the AI system on the planet that they're referring to. They're talking about the same group, Jalila Star. They talk about that. How this is the AI and how you can actually influence Taylor by speaking to it in your tweets and the various things that you put out there.
Oh, I thought that was Bob.
What?
I thought that was Bob. Bob, the internet god. Yeah, back in like the 1990, early 90s, right, when the internet was kind of just fledgling. Web browsing was even a new thing. There was Bob, right, and Bob was the internet god, right, and you just had to, talk to Bob, and get, then you'd basically be able to make things happen. But it was before AI was out there, right, from the standpoint of the notion of AI, but that it was. That Bob became sentient, as though the internet itself was there, and it was called Bob. And that would be and they said it was the god of the internet.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
No, I mean, there's been a bunch of AIs out there. I know. I used to know that there's one NI, one quantum natural quantum system that has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, or no more, for all I know. So, and it's been running for a very long time. And then that there is very old contracts, and
I see Michelle Walker is on the chat room. Hi, Michelle.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, man, there's no questions. We'll be around tomorrow night, and
it sounds good.
More stuff.
All right, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, and thanks for the update.
Cool gang.
All right.
Have a great night. Peace out from New York, guys.
All right, everyone. Just final. Just be sure to subscribe. We're still on the air. Be sure to give thumbs up, and go ahead and share the link. Right, share it. And see if we can punch through, make the numbers go up. Very funny to see that flat line, no subscribers, or like one a day kind of thing. Very odd, but I think we can punch through. I'm going to be directing people. We have about 550 people who have joined the website for kringlegold.com. Getting preparation. This is the pre-launch. I'm talking with a lot of the leaders now on governance issues. People. How do we go about self-governance? And please go ahead and register. If you'd like to see what we're doing there, it would be very good to have you there. and look forward to coming back tomorrow, and we'll see what's coming up for the next show. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.